All right, good morning there, Team ASEA Hawaii. I'm going to do a little overview of, um, of the initial components of the compensation plan. And I want to kind of clarify some of the reasons for the commissions. Every commission, there's a specific reason for it. Okay, I'm just going to talk about three of them. These are the most important mechanisms. If you do and understand just these three, all of the rest of the comp plan will fall into place. It's going to, in other words, it's going to automatically happen because as you're enrolling more and more people, it will make, and as you're building more and more leaders through this example here, then you're going to be rank advancing up through the structure. Okay, so it's going to be fast start, team, and matching commissions. That's all I'm going to talk
I
about.
couldn't find anything on there, sorry. I'm just listening in.
Okay, we're in the middle of recording,
Sorry.
so again, you can listen to it afterwards, and you know, if you weren't able to connect, but we'll go ahead and continue since we are recording. And again, you can just listen along, and then I think if you watch the replay of it, it'll reinforce it later. Okay, so the very first mechanism, which is fast start, right? It's the immediate income that you receive whenever you enroll someone. What you're seeing on screen now is everyone in color. So the top here, this girl, her name's Cindy. She's going to be my sort of sample associate. Everyone you see that's in color is someone that Cindy personally enrolled and placed there in her team structure. So you have, for example, Helen, Dave, Bill, Joanne, Mark, Mary, and Jane. Those are all people that Cindy personally enrolled. Whenever she enrolled someone, right, she receives $20 per enrollment case. And again, these slides I've just updated, so this one's going to be inaccurate. Let me put this example here. Okay, so when she enrolls Dave, or Mary rather, and she places her underneath Dave, and as you can see, Mary gets started with the 4-unit case example. Mary will receive $20 per case or $80. That's her immediate fast start commission. Next, notice that Mary signed up Fred here in this example. Okay? So let's say Mary was representative of Amber on this call, and then Amber signed up instead of Fred. It would be Betsy, right? So if she signed up Betsy, then that means Amber, or in this case Mary, receives the $80 fast start commission. All right, and I want to illustrate that no matter where you place someone, okay, like Jane there at the very bottom of the right structure, Cindy signs up Jane, places her way down there underneath Fred, because Cindy's still the enroller, she receives the fast start bonus. And in Jane's case here, she did the 8-case package, so Cindy's going to receive $160. All right. So again, no matter what, you could place someone on your 100th level, your 200th level, whatever, you're still going to receive the full value. All right. Now, let's move on to team commissions. So as this is all building, as people you see here, whether you're enrolling or other people are enrolling, what's going to happen is you're going to be building 2 teams. So as you see at the side here on the left, team 1 is shaded. In this particular commission week, there was 5,000 points of volume that was generated. So everyone underneath Helen, I'm going to refer to as team 1. On team 2, which is Dave, in this particular commission week, there was 3,000 points of volume. Okay. So how your team commissions are calculated, it's pretty simple. It's simply 10% of whatever the lesser side is. Okay. So in this case, it's team 2. So 10% of 3,000 would mean that Cindy would receive $300 for her team commissions in this particular week. All right. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so it's pretty simple. Now here's and I want to point out too, though. Let me go back here. I want to point out that you don't lose that volume. In other words, next week it doesn't start at 0 in this case, because there was 5,000 left, 3,000 right. So there was a $2,000 excess on the left. So what will happen next week is Cindy will start out next week with 2,000 worth of points on the left side of the organization. Okay, and then team 2 will be at 0. So it's going to encourage her or incentivize her to work with that team 2 leg, or team 2 rather, everyone under Dave, so that she can try to keep that as balanced as possible. Okay, and then if team 2 ends up over.
Question.
Yes, go for it.
Can you repeat the ambulance came by? Were you talking about how the carryover? Is that what you said? I didn't hear anything when the ambulance went by.
Yeah. So again, since Cindy here had 5,000 on her left team, team 1, and 3,000 on her team 2 side, there was a $2,000 excess on her team one, right? Between 5,000 and 3,000.
Okay.
So that what's going to happen is next week she is going to carry forward that extra 2,000 points of volume. So she'll start next week with a 2,000, and team two will have 0. And this is really why.
And
Go ahead.
and does everybody on the team, does theirs carry over with that team volume if they haven't hit that next rank or whatever?
Yes, they do.
Or not even rank, but the point? Yeah.
The only
85-7.
the only requirement to carry forward volume is that you're active. And again, to define what active means is you have 100 points of volume, so you've purchased at least one case within the last 30 days. And that's why auto ship will always be the easiest, simplest solution. Just be on auto ship for at least one case, and you will always carry forward your volume. Okay.
Right here.
Technically, you could.
Okay.
Technically, you could buy a case.
Focus underneath where the batteries are.
Oh, again, if you got background noise, if you do a *6 on your phone, or if you press mute,
Or mute.
would be great. Okay, so.
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead. Who's this?
Sorry. I'm having a really hard time hearing you, the volume.
The volume's a little low? Okay, how about that? Is that better? Try to get the mic.
Yeah, that's quick.
Okay.
If everybody could mute.
Yeah, it's important. If you guys are, especially if you have background noise, be sure you mute yourself. And then if you want to ask a question, go ahead and unmute at the time. Okay, so the deal is, again, just to go over the active definition, is you purchase at least one case of product. It can be ASEA, bottles, pouches. It could be, let's say, a Renew Advanced skincare system, 4 tubes of Renew 28, whatever, that generates 100 points of volume, and you'll always carry forward your volume. You won't lose out on any of your volume as you'll build. And pretty much for the majority, like 99% of people, you're going to have one leg that's going to have more volume, more activity on it than the other. And that's fine. That means you can just focus on the other side, on the side that has the lesser team, and help everyone down that leg. Now, if they take off and they start having more volume on that side, you go back to the other side and you work with it. So it's really just about working with two legs. And, like I tell people, like anyone who has a problem with that really doesn't understand, multi-tiered marketing anyways, because you cannot build any successful organization with just one leg. You got to build two legs. So, and the fact of the matter is with our program, you're helping other people simultaneously, and you're all able to generate, again, up to a maximum of 10,000 a week or 40,000 a month just in this one part of our plan. So it's really, when you think about it fundamentally, it's very powerful. But again, just because some people may have, hold on one second, I can't take that call. Amber, if you can call Betsy, I don't know, she was trying to dial in through a different thing, or make sure she's clicking on the right link. That'd be awesome. Okay.
So what am I? I'm driving, so should I just text her to call the number?
Yeah, you can either have her do that, or again, just clarify, which link to properly click on. But yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Right.
We're recording right now, so I can't stop everything. Okay, so so again, now I do want to clarify that technically your customers also, their volume counts as well. So if you had a preferred customer, and I'll show you this in a second, it's 50 PV if they're on auto ship. So you'd have to have 2 preferred customers on your account, and that would qualify even if you didn't purchase anything. But again, we don't encourage that, because for one, it's not part of the duplication model, right? I mean, you should be a product of the product. And it's not like the company's asking you to buy 10 cases a month, something you won't use. One case is very realistic. And on a side note, okay, if you're talking to other people in other companies, that's a red flag. If you talk to someone and they're telling you about your company, and they're telling you, oh, you have to buy $500 worth of product, and you can only consume, 100 a month, then I would run the other way. Okay, that's a red flag. And there are a lot of products out there like that, or products that you could get for free that they're trying to, also make you pay for, is another red flag. So just as a heads up, the definition of active is 100 points of volume within the last 30 days. It's a little bit more, but just just realize be on auto ship. Okay, auto ship's the easiest way to resolve that. All right. So let's now shift over to the last component I want to talk about this morning here, and that's the matching structure. All right. So again, on the left of the screen, I just sort of shrunk it down. Again, everyone who's in color is someone that Cindy personally enrolled. So as you're looking on the right here, Helen, Dave, Bill, Mary, Joanne, Jane, and Mark, you'll notice that they're all frontline in the matching structure. And this is probably one of the hardest concepts for people to understand, is that everyone has a position in 7 different compensation plans at the same time. And I want to also provide clarity that this is not something where the company is trying to manipulate you, or because again, I know companies who have done that. They try to make their comp plan so convoluted and confusing, but when you really peel off the layers, it's because they're trying to take more money from you. I will tell you that's definitely not the case here to see it. I mean, that's part of the reason why we have an advisory council. It's global. There's 9 of us that are on this council, and we make sure that the company is doing things that are fair, equitable. The bottom line is, guys, the company has X amount of money that they're going to pay out. It'll fluctuate depending on people who qualify for certain bonuses, but it's about 40 to 50%, okay, of every dollar that comes in gets paid out to the field. How that money is distributed is dependent on these 7 commission mechanisms. And again, every one of them is there for a reason, right? The fast start's there to pay someone immediately so they get immediate reward for an activity. And then the team commissions is a start of residual income, and it allows people to cooperatively benefit from volume from people above them, below them, etc., and help other people simultaneously. And then the matching structure really is designed to identify leadership and people who are truly helping other people who are bringing in leadership quality people and helping them to build out their organization. This is really where we see the essence of, like, Zig Ziglar's quote: if you help enough people become successful, you will become successful. So that's what we're looking into right now in this matching part of the plan. And if you look here, okay, so, and just so that you can now start to visually understand this, and if you look on the left of your screen, okay, when Bill signed up someone, let's say in gray, that person is underneath Bill in the matching structure. Okay, remember Mary? We had the example of Mary and Fred, right? So Mary signed up Fred, okay, and let's say Fred signed up somebody, then that person would be underneath them. Now that's not depicted on the left. It needs to be, but just to give you an example, it's just people who personally enroll people, okay, and there's no limit on the number of people that you can personally enroll. Okay, but they do, but in the team commission part of the plan, everyone can only have 2 people directly beneath them. So as depicted in this left graphic, that they all will be placed underneath someone else. Okay, are there any questions on this? Because this is, again, really important concept that everyone needs to grasp, if you will. And again, if you're not seeing, if you're just dialing in on the phone, you're not seeing the graphic, then you can watch this replay later, but just conceptually realize that, again, everyone has a position in multiple comp plans at the same time. Okay, looks like somebody might have unmuted you. Is there a question?
Yeah, I did. It's Amber. So quick question. Because I'm not looking at it, is the check match just on who I personally enroll, or the check match is on the people that I'm helping build teams to?
Yes, it's based on...
So it's on my enrollees, or just on my personal enroll?
No, it's based on the enroller tree. So it's the people that you enroll, the people they enroll, the people they enroll. Okay, what you do not receive, what you do not receive check match on are the people that are placed underneath you in the team or the binary structure. Okay, so if someone above you puts someone underneath you, then they're not in your enroller tree. They're only in your team or binary structure.
Okay, and then check match is unlocked at a certain rank, or does everybody get check match?
Yes, it starts at the bronze executive rank, and so all the way, and then you get paid 1 generation. So to kind of more clarify your question, is let's say you hit bronze, then you will match on everyone's check in your entire group up until you hit another bronze or higher. Okay, you'll match on their check as well, but nobody underneath them. That's what we call 1 generation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a lot better than some other plans because a lot of other plans are based on levels. So they'll say, okay, we'll pay you 1 or 2 levels when you get to this. We'll pay you 3 levels when you get to this. But that's only 3 levels. And if there's people who are dropped out of the plan, okay, then you're not going to make any match. And that's what some companies are counting on, right? Because then they don't have to pay it out. So with the SIA though, we say, look, you created some leadership here. You deserve to be paid a match on everyone's check up until the next leader, because now we've got to, distribute the commissions to people who are also working, right? But the way you punch through that is you become a silver, and as a silver, then you would get paid another generation up until you hit the next bronze executive rank or higher. Okay, and again, by the way, guys, this can
Okay, and then the last,
go ahead.
one more question on that. So like the executive momentum pool that we're not talking about, you need to be in there 2 weeks before that's unlocked.
Yeah, let's
Does
yeah,
check match, does that apply the same? You're in there 2 weeks?
no,
Or does check match on the first week?
every first week. That's your first commission. Yeah, and I will talk about the EMP, the Executive Momentum Pool, on another call. But yes, no, this is calculated every single week. Whatever you rank you qualify at, you could qualify at Director 300 this week and Gold next week, and you'll if you're a Gold, you'll match through 3 generations of check match.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so and that's an incentive for not only people to hit the ranks, but to be consistent with them, because that way, you'll continue to receive that income. And in the case now of the EMP pool, be additionally compensated for that for consistency. Okay, good questions. And I think when you go back and hopefully view the recording here, you'll see graphically, things will probably should really start to click in, and you can really start to visualize, what your organization will look like. And again, like as I went over yesterday, the more clear and the more clear your vision is, and the more crystallized this is, the more likely it is you're going to hit it. Okay. Again, I just see too many people. They have no idea what they're shooting for, and then and just like Zig said, right? If you're aiming at nothing, you're likely to hit it. That's what happens 9 times out of 10. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me talk a little bit about here on the matching bonus. So I'm going to use 20% as an example now. This is a high number. Okay, it's going to be about half that. Okay, I mean this particular training I did, the original one. I just grabbed this particular copy of it. It's an older one, but it's kind of leveled out around 10%. Okay, when we were first starting out, it was higher because there wasn't as many people who had achieved these ranks, but it's about 10%, which is still very healthy. Okay, imagine you have hundreds or thousands of people in your group, and whatever their check is, you get 10% of that entire amount. That's, as you can see, that can be it will be, as you get especially to the diamond ranks and whatnot, that will be the biggest portion of your income. All right, and the great news about it too, it's the most stable and solid portion of your income, because it's based on people who are actually working. That's where and these are people that have, again, if you're a good leader and you've helped all them to achieve their success, then that's, you should be compensated for that, and that's what creates that residual income stream. So whether or not you're working or not, this is pretty much the solid income that gets deposited into your bank account each and every week. All right, so in this example though, let me say here Bill. So Bill here, let's say he earned a check, his team commission check this week was $700. Okay, so in this case, again, 20%, it's $140. Let's say it was even half that. So let's say it was only $70. That's still great. Again, this is just for the week, and for this particular commission week, and that's something that you may or may not have had a direct, involvement with. This is where, again, we start to create the leverage. Next here, Mary. So let's say Mary gets a check for 600. Okay, in this case, it's 120. In this 20% example, let's say Joanne, 200, that's 40. Let's say Mark, he's kind of a superstar, and he goes out and he makes a check for 1,700. Then now that's going to add another $340. And Jane, $20, because she had a $100 check this week. And look at Betty. Let's say Betty down there, who Joanne sponsored, again, because she's still within your generational pay. Let's say her check this week was 6,500, right? Say she's a real superstar. So that would add $1,300 to this week's check for you, and that'd be a total of $1,960 just on these matches, just on these particular. In this case, there's about six check matches, and again, more realistically, what it would be currently about half of that, but that's still $1,000. And again, this doesn't include everyone else beneath all these people as well. So I want to point that out. remember, there's going to be if you have this many people, there's a lot more people beneath these. And again, some of these checks, there may only be $2 or $5 or $7. But if you have, dozens or hundreds or thousands of them, you can see that can add up pretty quickly. Okay? Are there questions on this particular part of the plan? Okay? I want to stop here. Okay? We're kind of running a little bit at the end of our time anyways, but I just want to make sure if there's anyone who's not clear on fast start, team, or matching, let me know. If you just understand these three mechanisms of the plan, the rest of the plan will fall in place. The only thing that really you would need to consider if you want to earn more is working faster, because the faster that you work, then the more bonuses, the fast track bonuses that you'll be eligible for. And that incentive is there for a reason. I mean, it's not just there because the company wants you to work faster. I mean, that's obvious, but really it's a behavior that you want to create for your organization as well. If you again, like I've said before, if you treat this business like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a serious business, it'll pay you like a serious business. So you want to be able to set that behavior, but you have to do it first. It's just like we say, if it's going to be rather, it's up to me. So you have to be the example. You have to set the pace. You have to be the leader. You have to get the education. And then from there, by helping develop others, is where you'll start to see the bigger rewards. Okay, we have a question out there?
Yeah, I got one more question.
Go for it.
So this goes back to the fast start. Before you would get like the $20, $40, $80. That's not happening anymore. And then you mentioned because now they've changed the team commissions.
No, you do. You do get 20. You do
Or
get
what
20.
that means?
Yeah, you do get $20 per case. It only goes to the enroller, though. It only goes to the personal enroller. Before there was a multi-tiered payout, but what they've done is they've shifted that into increasing the volume per case. Because before there'd only be like 30 points of volume going in the plan. Yeah, and so that means that.
Okay, so that's the difference in volume.
Yeah, so now really the benefit of that, Amber, is that as you continue to build your group, instead of having just like 30 points per case, you have 100 points per case going in, over 3 times the amount, and that's going to help compensate leaders way above in the plan who might have been cut off from the fast start bonus because it only paid 2 different levels. And that's going to really increase checks, because it's really at the end of the day, especially when you get to the middle part of the plan, it's about volume, and being able to get paid on volume rather than one-time fast start bonuses is much more lucrative for everyone.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you guys. I got to get off the call.
Absolutely.
I'm here where I need to be.
Okay.
But that was great.
All right, you're very welcome. And I'll stay on to answer anyone else's questions. If anyone else has a question, feel free to unmute and holla. Anyone else have any questions? Need any clarity before I stop the recording? Because I do want to make sure if we do have questions, I can stop the recording here. Okay, let me stop recording. Oops, what was that?